All right, ladies and gentlemen, is this thing on? I pray it is. Anyways, what is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I be, good Dr. Mike TV. Back again, once again. You should already know, ladies and gentlemen, this one is poised to be a very interesting topic of conversation, but it's definitely poised to be an instant classic in the making. First time to the channel, guys, make sure you subscribe, notify, do all the good things to make yourself well-versed in the Good Doc's content. All my good stuff shall be listed in the link in the description area below. Official time check, y'all know what it is. Y'all see it. 8:48 p.m. East, 7:48 Central, 5:48 for all of my brothers repping that West Coast, and of course, 8:49 a.m. Philippine Standard Time, wherever you guys are reporting in the world today. Madami, salamat salahat, and thank you guys for joining the Good Doc on this live show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's not hold no punches. Let's not hold punches. Let's not pull back on blows. Earlier today, guys, I shared with you an interesting video that I came across online about the young man that was pulled over by the police, and eventually he was told to put down his phone, and he chose not to do so. He told the officers, "I will not hurt you," blah, blah, blah. You know the story. If you don't, it's a previous video that I just posted, right? So basically, he ended up getting tased, right? Like, they put the tasers to this man. No hesitation. They dropped his ass, okay? But, you know, as I view the current landscape of the Western world in general, right? We hear about all the bad shit that's happening, guys. And I mean, it's bad. You talk about Uvalde. You talk about, there was a parade just recently. There was a mass, shoot 'em up situation, the one in Buffalo, but then there was one that was recent, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but I think it was during a parade. I think it was 4th of July. If I get it wrong, don't shoot me for it. But you hear about everything that's going on in the world today, at least what's going on in the West. And I have to say, man, there's all this particular energy and all of this particular violence of sorts that's happening here in the West, not just in the United States, because I'm sure other Western countries got their own issues. But when you hear about all of the things that are happening in the West, ladies and gentlemen, is that really pushing your mindset to the East, like right now? Like, is everything that's happening in the West pushing your energy towards wanting to be in the East? Now, let me make sure that I make this abundantly clear, because there are going to be some people who are going to be in their feelings, talk about, well, bad shit happens in the East too, bro. Bad things happen in Asia too, bro, or wherever you're choosing to go. And you're 100% correct. Bad things happen every single place that you go. 100%. I will not deny that. But I can almost put my hand on a stack of Bibles and swear on everything that I love that you're more likely to have issues, complications, struggles, challenges, etc. in the West more so than you will in the East. If you've been to the East and you kind of know the landscape and the vibe, and you visit a couple times just to get a lay of the land to understand, I really feel like you're really going to have a pretty decent time, and you're going to be able to adjust accordingly, as opposed to not knowing what's going to happen to you in a place like the West, man. We got so many people, y'all. So many people expressed in their First Amendment rights. And don't get me right, free speech and all that stuff, but people gonna say some shit that's gonna get themselves fucked up, right? I'm gonna keep it real. The shit that some people say is gonna really get them fucked up if they were anywhere else in the world, right? So we got people who are delusional as fuck in our particular. Don't get me wrong, I love being where I'm from, y'all. Y'all know that. Doc is 100%. I love being an American, Black American, African American, whatever you say. Don't ever think that I would never want to be any other or have a passport from any other country. But there's just so much going on that it's almost like it's a blessing and an opportunity for us to be where we're from so that we can go to other places. And I think that we should utilize that advantage to the best of our abilities. But, I kind of feel like what's going on in the world today, where we are and where the political landscape, the whole nine, it's really pushing a lot of people out of the West and into other countries. I'm not the first person to talk about this, and I damn sure won't be the last, right? Cost of living is fucking outrageous for a lot of people. Inflation, that 9% plus inflation right now, is pricing a lot of people out of the United States. That's another story for another day, mainly because I don't want to get into the economic standpoint of it, because you guys have probably heard that from a bunch of other people. But that 9% inflation that's happening in the United States is pricing people out of even living here in the first place. Right? So aside from the violence, aside from high economic cost and all that stuff, if you did not prepare, you are fucked, ladies and gentlemen. And I put emphasis on that. I don't want you guys to fall into that narrative, right? We commonly speak about escaping the matrix. We commonly speak about, at least sharing and differing experiences. And I kind of feel like the landscape as we speak, the economy, the violence, all of that stuff, it's definitely shifting a lot of mindsets into, yo, man, I got to go somewhere where I feel a little bit safer. If you think about it a couple years back, or even until this day, but prior to me coming to the Philippines, y'all, you would hear so many people talk about, yo, man, you don't want to go to the Philippines or places like that, man. They kidnap people over there. They're killing people over there. That happens in certain places, right? I'm not going to say that it doesn't. But then again, if you know where to stay away from, you should be Gucci. 10 years in the country. Nobody came for my black ass, I'll tell you that. But, I hear about all the problems or the naysayers of why you shouldn't travel. But then I look at what's happening here, and it's basically giving me a definitive answer on all the reasons why I should travel. Every time I look around, man, the fucking news is negative. I have never in my life seen so much negativity in the news in my life, y'all. I ain't never seen so much negativity in my life. If it's, like I said, if it's not talking about the economy and the potential uptick in inflation, we're talking about a school shooting at a fucking elementary school, which is fucking depressing if you want to know the truth, or a mass shooting. I think my brother Joseph mentioned it. You were talking about the July 4th, right? Like I said, something happened on July 4th. Then we talked about old buddy who targeted all the African Americans in that store in Buffalo. And we could keep going back, and we could keep stacking the data if we want to, but it ain't gonna change, bro. Like, it's not gonna change. I do not see this current landscape changing for the better. I just don't. Right? All you do is hope and pray that you make it through the day, man. Half the time, ain't that a bitch where you got to pray and hope you make it through the day? In the Philippines, bro, I never felt like that. Every day was something new. Every day was an adventure. Every day was like, yo, what can I get into next? Now, when I was living there, don't get me wrong, man, I got lazy, and there were times I just didn't want to go out, so I didn't go out if I didn't want to. But ultimately, if I wanted to go see a different place, right? If I wanted to go to Cebu, if I had a desire to go see other places, you could plan a trip around that accordingly. And it would be easy to hop a plane, and relatively cheap too. In the United States, I'm thinking to myself, where would I want to travel in the United States? Everywhere that I'm thinking about traveling probably got its own set of issues as well. All right. So it's kind of like, man, it's emotionally draining for somebody like me, because I try to see the bright side of everything. I try to see the positivity, but it's becoming extremely difficult to see the positive side. Now, I don't know how many of you know this about myself, but I am not one. I am not one to watch the news at all. And anybody who knows me, anybody who's close to me, anybody who's been watching me for a period of time, you guys know my favorite news network, right? If there's anybody who knows my favorite network to watch news at, and I only started watching them when I was in the Philippines, I want you guys to write it in the chat. There's only very few people who may remember this, but to give you an update, it's not Fox News, nor is it CNN, nor is it MSNBC, right? It's none of those. There's one news source that I usually follow, and I follow it because I like it. And I kind of feel, to an extent, they might be a little bit biased in some areas, but for the most part, when it comes to news broadcast about my country in the United States, they're usually pretty straight down the line with their content in reference to what they're delivering as far as news is concerned. So I kind of feel like my energy is being wasted or it's becoming exhausting to be here in the States, man. And now I see why everybody who leaves, right? Anybody who's looking to get away gets away. Joseph, it's not Raffy Tofo. We're not talking about the Jerry Springer of the Philippines, even though I idolize what that man is doing. That man is fucking a marketing genius, man. That's the Jerry Springer of the Philippines. I love Raffy Tofo. his energy, the type of content, the scandalous shit. The more scandalous, the better. But no, it's not Raffy Tofo. It's an actual news network. But like I said, man, it's just the energy that I'm feeling right now, and I feel like the violence is really leading my mind. Even though I was already set and ready to get out whenever my time was right, it's kind of like really re-emphasizing and reiterating that stuff. That it's really time for me to somewhat consider an exit plan, right? And it's not so much an exit plan where it's Philippines or bust, but it could be going to a different country, man. Get me a job overseas, man. Take the wife somewhere different. It just depends. Like I said, it depends on paperwork and stuff. But, just thinking about even shit like that, going to work overseas and other places. I talked to my dad earlier about a couple of potential opportunities and shit. So it's like the more and more this bad shit keep happening, I try to stay away from the news because, like I said, it always reports negativity for the most part. But the more and more the shit happens, it feels as though you got to kind of just train your mind not to worry about this shit and think about other places that you kind of feel are a little bit better, right? In your mind. If you've never been to the Philippines, check it out. If you want to go to Korea or places like that, check it out and see what it's about. Like I said, man, there's nothing better than having the opportunity and having choices and having options in reference to where you can go or where you actually want to be. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys locking in. I see a couple of you guys in the building. If you haven't already dropped your like, please make sure that you do so, man. The Good Dog would highly appreciate that one. If you guys want to support in any capacity, please feel free to do so. But like I said, man, I'm happy and blessed y'all choose to come through, spend a little bit of time with the boy today. Nayon Den. Smooth, what's going on with you, brother? Chosen One, appreciate you locking in. My man Kang, appreciate you locking in, man. He said I had a comment on that earlier video. Yeah, I read your comment, and it was on it. It was on point. He said, this is a hot topic and one of the many, many, many reasons why Black men are leaving the United States. And we ask, why would you want to put yourself through all of this when you can catch a flight? It's true. Sometimes it's not worth the headache. And if you're a type of dude that can work online, I promise you, bro, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be sitting in your mom's basement or your, wherever it is in the United States, if you can really get out there and live that nomadic lifestyle. If you could work abroad, I would not be here. If my job was remote and I could work that bitch how I want to, I wouldn't be here. And I don't think a lot of you guys would be here either. Yeah, Joseph, like you said, man, that 4th of July shooting, that was some negative shit. It was just horrible. Every fucking month, something bad's happening. It's just weird. Shout out to my brother Robert. What's up with you, man? He said the U.S. has a more warlike principle while other countries have had their demons on full display and even clamped down on them. Yeah. It's weird though, because I wouldn't say that they wear it as a badge of honor, because it's not a badge of honor, but it's like some of the things that you can't hide, right? So if you know that you've been like bad shit has happened in your country, we'll say it like that. If you know that bad shit has happened and it happened and there's nothing you can do about it, you try to do damage control by switching up on the marketing and trying to get people to still come to your country. But ultimately, it's a part of your country's history. I feel like in the United States, people try to sweep some shit under the rug, and a lot of people, like, there's some interesting historical facts about where we come from that if people really, like, if the masses knew about it, that shit'll freak you the fuck out. Like, yo, how they used to do people back in the day and all this stuff. If you really paid attention and they really taught that, and they never will, because that's kind of something they want us to forget, you'll really start to believe that. And if you guys notice, the messed up thing about here is, in our society, bro, like, social media is crazy, right? Because what happened is, let's say, for example, there's a conflict overseas and it involves the military and, whatever other country, right? Our U.S. military in another country. Something bad happened in that country. Let's say, for example, there was an incident and we were at fault, for example. They're going to do the best they can to cover it up, act like it didn't happen. And what they'll do is they'll distract us with bullshit news and stuff, or they'll start talking about something different, or to change our mindset. I remember specifically Harvey Weinstein, and I like talking about Harvey Weinstein because they talked about his ass heavy when it first came out, about the week after that, they ain't say shit about him. Then this man, something happens to him and he's no longer amongst the living, right? Something happened to him in jail. Y'all know what it is. But the way they passed that shit off, like, oh, well, he committed suicide or whatever, and they just shut the fuck up about it, it blows my mind. Like, usually if something really bad was happening, they would stick on it or they would harp on it, but they let that shit go real quick. Like, real quick. Yeah, Joseph, the gun culture here in the U.S. is interesting. Do I participate? You absolutely fuck yes, I do. Right, I do. But I do that for the safety of me and mine, bro. I can't even lie. You just can't trust people nowadays, and there's just too much shit going on to not be prepared. It's just too much going on for you not to be on it. But it is what it is, man. I can't say anything else about it. The U.S. arrests more of its citizens than any other country in the world. Europe is way better. He said, we can't say the West. I do. Yeah, I guess European countries do represent the West as well. I say Western countries, but I can honestly say that a lot of my talking points are probably more U.S. based for sure. Like I said, I don't see a lot of this happening in, countries like England and, other European countries, Germany and stuff like that. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but on the scale, the massive fucking scale that is happening with our own, that being U.S. people, people from the States, it's very interesting. It's very fucking difficult to deal with, right? And then you wonder why people don't want to fucking come back, right? Nobody wants to come back here. It's sad, but it's the truth, right? We talk about, I should say, people who are not from the United States talk about the United States like it's the American dream. Everybody wants to be here to make their way. And, you come here and you do right and you do good. You can definitely do well in the country, but it's like the way they look, some people just look at you funny. Even if you made it, man, people still look at you a little funny. All right. Like you would never be one of them or some shit. It's that energy, that animosity, and all that shit leads to violence. Oh, you're doing better than me, so I'm gonna whoop your ass and take what you got because you're doing better than me. What the fuck? Yeah, you can't ask me how we could get this together or what tips you have. You can't do that shit. You just go take what I have, right? It seems to be the energy, man, and it sucks. He says, although it's true black men are leaving the U.S. by the tens and hundreds, but it's also true men as a whole that are leaving in packs. I agree. In Thailand, he says, I'm in Thailand currently. Okay, he said Thailand rules. He said having all kinds of fun. Hey, man, I think that we should all consider ourselves global citizens and not just citizens of a particular country. That's kind of the vibe that I love to have, right? I am an American citizen, of course, but kind of want to look at myself as a global citizen. You just got to put it in your mind that you got to want to see more shit. Right. Like I said, granted, it's not happening like I would want it to right now. But then again, things could change. Right. It just comes with the territory. You got to give it time to work itself out. So that part. Let's see. That island life, definitely forever. I feel you. He says, when I get rich, he said, I'm moving to Europe, going back to chase some white women. I said, well, you've been on the Asia World Tour for the better part of half a decade, 5 years, if not longer. So ain't nothing wrong with going back to white girls. if that's your cup of tea, man. Like I said, man, you're not required to just chase one race of women. I think that's a common misconception, at least in myself in general, too. Like they kind of feel like, yo, you date Asian women, you only like Asian women. I'm like, nah, I can't say that, right? It's not necessarily like that. But I guess when people see that you've chosen to date abroad or some shit, they think that that's the only choice that you ever gonna go for. But you know what it is, man. People gonna say what they do. Shout out to my man SML. What's up, Robert? You know it ain't no damn BBC, bro. You know what it is, bro. He said Vietnam will be on my list in about 6 months. Vietnam should be on everybody's list. I think that's a very underrated country. I do. I think it's very underrated. I think it has a lot of potential. Looks like fun. And it's cheap too. It's very fucking cheap. In comparison to the Philippines, the prices and the numbers, when I computed them, when I looked it up myself, the numbers are cheap. We're talking about $500 a month for some really good rental spaces. $500-$600 a month. Now in the Philippines, you'd be like, yo, man, we could get 300, we could do 400 or something like that. I could get me a place for 100. But bruh, you know what you expect to get when you're dealing with prices in $100 to $200 ranges a month for a rental space, or not a rental space, or wherever you're moving into, your little shack and shit. Right? You know what you can expect with $100, $200 a month, even $300 a month is stretching it. It might be a okay place and a decent okay place, but we're talking about city centers, $500-$600 in Vietnam. So try that shit in Manila and see if you could do that. I just don't see it. He says, I'm passionate about the whole gun debate. He said, grew up in urban area, Babylon. He said, on both coasts. He said, no, sir. He said, give this man. Bruh. I was trying to read it. I think I fucked it up. But I know what you mean, though. I mean, the gun debate in general, y'all, there's a lot of people who are up in arms about it, figuratively and literally. I don't make a big deal about it. I got it, but that doesn't mean that I'm out here flashing it, flaunting it, or wanting everybody to know that I got it. I know I tell you guys, but it is what it is because y'all my people and shit, so it don't matter to me. But for me, it's just a matter of peace of mind, for sure. Knowing that if somebody really wanted the smoke, like if they really, really wanted it, I'll try my best to talk my way out of it because I'm very good with my words. All right. I know how to de-escalate situations. Let's hope I never find myself in a situation like that. But if I had to, and I was left with zero fucking choice, trust me, I'm damn sure gonna try to end them before they end me. Right? Because I got other people I gotta think about now. It's not just me anymore. So, it's always gonna be debatable. He said, my relatives have nothing but BS to say about the Philippines, but yet none of them have ever been there. That energy sounds exactly like a lot. That's what a lot of people are doing, man. A lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like that. He said, it takes a special person to live in the Philippines. It's not going to be for your average person. You have to be built different. Oh, yeah, you got to be a soldier, man. You got to be a soldier, man. You have to be a soldier. You do. The food, if you choose to eat at the Carinderias and shit like that, you got to be built different to eat that shit. Now, you can do the McDonald's, the Pizza Huts, the Manganasals, and you can do that shit every day of your life if you want to. I mean, it's not going to really kill the pockets too much, but I'm a Carinderia guy, right? I like Jeeps. Jeeps are cheap. College kid, man, you have to adjust accordingly, right? So for me, I could do that shit. I think I got a cast iron stomach for this shit. I do. You have to, man, because a lot of that food gonna run through them foreign stomachs, man. That shit gonna fuck y'all up. I can only remember ever one time really getting sick in the Philippines, and it was bad. But it was we went to a buffet restaurant, and it was me and it was actually for our birthday, I think. Me and my young lady and a couple of her friends at that time. I wasn't the only one that got sick, so I mean, it was just in the food, bro. But yeah. But you do have to be built different, man. The shit ain't for everybody. That's for sure. Robert, you know what it is, boy. You know me. What? There's nothing wrong with Indian women or Chinese women. Not sure if I'm necessarily their cup of tea, but yeah, it is what it is. He said, I can't work like I used to. He said, if it's true that SSDI people will be getting an 8.9, 10.5 increase, which is a lot next year. He said, I'm out of here. Hey, man, take your money and run. I think Social Security is going up too, man. I heard Social Security might be hitting double digits, triple digits. So, man, if you can get that money, just get it. Like I said, man, don't run away from free. Well, I wouldn't call it free money, because one way or another you sacrifice for it. But don't run away from the money they're trying to give away. Just don't run away from. Like I said, I don't want to call it free money, but don't run away from the money they're trying to give us. Like I said, somebody want to give me a loan, I said, we about to put that bitch in the stock market and we about to make it rain, man. That's all we doing. That's all I need. right there. And I ain't hurting. I'll be all right. Like I said, I'm trying to buy back my time, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm very close to getting into a cycle to where all I'm doing is buying back my time. That's all I could do. That's all I could do. He said when they go to Trinidad and Tobago and get back broken. Hey man, those island countries, the Caribbean, man, I heard they be popping out there too, man. I heard it'd be fun in the island countries for sure. The VA is about to go up too. Don't surprise me now. Y'all, like I said, man, like I said, if they gonna give y'all the money, take the money. Like I said, you work for it one way or another. Anyways, it feels as though like when you get your tax return at the end of the year and shit, and you'd be like, "Yo, you just giving me back the money that y'all took from me." Anyways, and you act like you get the bonuses and shit. It's just weird, but we're gonna do all right. We're gonna do all right for sure. He says, I still have not been to South America. He says, if I don't make it to Colombia, Brazil, DR, I said I consider my travel a failure. You said all three or just one of the three? All three or either one of those three. If your money goes up, man, like I said, $1,500 is not bad. $1,500 a month in the Philippines is very doable. And you know what's weird though? That is easy. If you really have a concept and you can really make money, bro, $1,500 a month is not hard to accomplish. That's the crazy thing. $1,500 a month, if you can keep that consistent, that's not really that hard to get to. All right. You know, if you want to get 3,000, 5,000 consistent every month, you might have to work a little harder, of course. But if you can consistently get that 15, 16, and you know that you could budget your money well, that's really not that hard to come by. Really not that hard to come by. mm. Shit. All right, y'all. I just wanted to come on and politics just for a minute. But yeah. Like I said, I think hell, it may not even be the East, man. South America is very attractive too for a lot of people. I mean, you hear about shit down there, but I kind of feel like you're still better off down there than you are where we at. You feel me? So it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. I ain't gonna keep you on very long, man. Just wanted to politic with you guys. Hope you guys are having a blessed one. I'm gonna let you guys go and get the getting. Appreciate you. Silent partners. For those that just watch in the background, much love to you always. For anybody who catches this on the replay, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section. Hear what you guys' thoughts on a particular topic of content. To all of my people who participate in the chat, keep me on my toes, man. I appreciate y'all locking in. You guys have a blessed one. Good Doc's gonna go and get the getting. With that being said, Good Doc is officially out. At least Neko, which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Sincerely do. Makita. Mabuhay. Peace.